You wake up on the 1st of September 1914. Mist clings to the valley floor. Your horses stand harnessed in the dark. 5,000 German cavalry are 800 yards away on the ridge above you, and nobody knows. In 90 minutes, 3 men will win Victoria Crosses for keeping a single gun firing while 12 enemy guns tear their battery apart. This is Nery, a tiny French village 35 miles northeast of Paris, where one gun held off an entire division and changed the course of the war. The British Expeditionary Force has been retreating for 8 straight days. Mons on August 23rd, Le Cateau on August 26th. Day after day falling back before the German First Army. 1st Cavalry Brigade reaches Nery on the evening of August 31st. 2,000 men. 3 regiments, 2nd Dragoon Guards called the Queen's Bays, 5th Dragoon Guards, 11th Hussars, and L Battery Royal Horse Artillery with 6 13-pounder guns and 205 men. They're exhausted. 26 hours without sleep for some German units pursuing them. The brigade commander, Brigadier General Charles Briggs, thinks the ridge east of the village is still held by French troops. He's wrong. The French pulled back during the night. Nobody told the British. That ridge now belongs to German 4th Cavalry Division. L Battery parks in a sugar beet factory field south of the village at 10 in the evening. Major Walter Sclater Booth commands. His second is Captain Edward Kinder Bradbury, born August 16, 1881 in Altrincham, 33 years old, trained at Royal Military Academy, Woolwich. Commissioned 1899, 15-year service. Battery Sergeant Major George Thomas Dorrell, born July 7, 1880 in Paddington. Joined the Army at 15, but told them he was 19, 6 feet tall, so they believed him. By 1905, he's a sergeant in India. Lucknow posting. Qualified as Battery Rough Rider. Took the equitation course, got excellent reports in riding, swordsmanship, drilling, training remounts. By August 1914, he's the senior non-commissioned officer. 34 years old, veteran of the Boer War, knows his business. Sergeant David Nelson. Born April 3, 1886 in County Monaghan, Ireland. Enlisted 1904. Attended Royal Artillery School of Gunnery at Shoeburyness, 1910. First class certificate, 28 years old, all professionals. All about to face something nobody trained for. First action near Audrigny's August 24th. Supporting a charge by 9th Lancers, knocked out German guns. Stopped an attempt to outflank the British Expeditionary Forces left. 2 days later, the Great Artillery Duel at Le Cateau, August 26th. L Battery in the thick of it. Firing until 1600 hours. Then the retreat begins. By August 31st, they're behind the Aisne River. The Battery and 1st Cavalry Brigade fought until 4 in the afternoon. Exhausted. Orders come. Bivouac at Nery. Be ready to march at 0430. September 1st. Orders say move at 4:30 in the morning, but at 2:30 on September 1st, the men wake. Feed horses, rub them down, harness teams, hook guns to limbers, thick fog blankets the valley, visibility maybe 50 yards. At 4:15, an officer patrol from the 11th Hussars rides southeast. 2nd Lieutenant Tailby leading. Standard reconnaissance, 5 horses, 5 men. They're supposed to check the roads, make sure they're clear for the march. 5:25 in the morning, that patrol races back. Horses lathered, German cavalry close, very close. Minutes later, shells start bursting over the battery position, 5:40 exactly per German records. General von Garnier commanding, part of 2nd Cavalry Corps under General von der Marwitz. They've been advancing on the eastern flank of von Kluck's First Army, crossed the Otomna River during the night of August 31st, moved south through Compiègne Forest, several miles east of Nery. A patrol under Lieutenant Michael and another trooper rides west before dawn, looking for British positions, moving through the mist, hears sounds, campfires maybe, horses, thinks it's another German regiment, dismounts, leaves horses with his companion, creeps forward on foot, peers over a stone wall, finds himself 2 meters from an English corporal of the Queen's Bays. The man is shaving, using a mirror, completely unaware. Michael freezes, backs away slowly, retrieves his horse, races back to Garnier's headquarters at Le Plessis-Châtelain, 1.5 miles east of Nery. 2nd Patrol under Sergeant Dittman of the 17th Cavalry Brigade meets a British cavalry patrol head-on, probably from 11th Hussars. They collide in the fog. The British officer's horse rears, throws him. By the time he catches the animal and gallops back to raise the alarm, German artillery is already unlimbering. Garnier doesn't hesitate. He's found British troops in bivouac, unsuspecting, uncovered. A gift. He orders immediate attack. Western edge of the high ground, 800 yards from L Battery's position, maybe closer. Some accounts say 700, others say 600 to the nearest guns. 3rd Cavalry Brigade, under command, attacks from the right, direction of Bethesy. 17th Cavalry Brigade attacks from the left, near the sugar factory. 3rd Artillery Regiment's 12 guns deploy in a line. Guard Machine Gun Company positions on the left of the gun line. 18th Cavalry Brigade held in reserve at Le Plessis-Châtelain. It's 5:40 in the morning. Dawn breaking. Fog still heavy in the valley. Germans have the high ground. Clear fields of fire once the mist lifts. Complete surprise. Perfect ambush position. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. This script is researched and factual using sources from Major A. F. Beck's 1927 detailed study, Nery, 1914, The Adventure of the German 4th Cavalry Division, published by Naval and Military Press, and his 1919 article, The Fight at Nery in the Royal United. Service Institution Journal, Volume 64, cross-referenced with British Official History Military Operations, France and Flanders. 1914, Volume 1, compiled by Brigadier General James Edmonds. German sources include General von Kluck's March on Paris and Possek's German Cavalry in Belgium and France. Plus, Lieutenant Colonel T. Pittman's article in the Cavalry Journal, April 1920, written by the commander of 11th Hussars who was present at the battle. These aren't modern interpretations. These are primary documents from men who led troops under fire at Nery. Now back to the information. But the limber poles are dropped. Standard Royal Horse Artillery procedure when you're waiting to move. Called drop poles. Takes the weight of the pole off the horses' necks, lets them rest while staying ready. The poles have weighted ends. When they're unhooked from the horses, the ends rest on the ground. Horse teams remain in harness. Guns stay limbered. You can move in seconds. Just hook up and go. Except when shrapnel bursts overhead and the horses panic, they try to bolt. The instant they move forward, the pole ends dig into the soft ground. Teams can't break free. They're trapped, standing targets. 150 horses cut down in the first minutes. Maybe more. Some accounts say 170. The field becomes chaos, wounded animals screaming, traces tangling, dead horses falling in harness, dragging down the living, blood and mud and fog and shells coming in steady. Shell burst catches him 10 yards from the guns. Concussion wave slams him down, knocked unconscious, bleeding from the ears. He's out of the fight, won't wake for hours. Command falls to Captain Bradbury, second in command, now in command. No time to think about it, just react. Come on, who's for the guns? He races across open ground, 50 yards of open field under concentrated shell fire. Machine gun fire now adding to it. Rifle fire from dismounted German cavalry trying to push forward. Lieutenant Jack Gifford follows Bradbury, 24 years old. Lieutenant John Campbell, 31. Lieutenant Lionel Mundy, 27. Sergeant Nelson, Gunner Derbyshire, Driver Osborne, other men from the horse lines, the ones not wounded yet, the ones who can still move. They sprint through the maelstrom, reach the guns, start unlimbering, turning them, pointing them east toward the German batteries, now clearly visible on the ridge as the fog starts thinning. Barrel length, 7 feet 2 inches. Total weight with carriage, 1,270 pounds. Hydro spring recoil system mounted above the barrel. Pole trail carriage, 2 seats for gunners, protective shield, fires fixed ammunition. 12.5-pound shrapnel shell with 234 lead balls. Or high explosive, shell length 9.5 inches with fuse. Cartridge, 12.3 inches. Total, round 22 inches. Effective range, 5,900 yards. Rate of fire, 15 rounds per minute with a good crew. But that's under training conditions, not under fire from 12 guns at 800 yards. But the ammunition wagons are 20 yards behind the gun line. Every single round has to be carried through the distance. 20 yards of fire swept ground. High explosive shells, shrapnel bursts, machine gun bullets, small arms. 20 yards might as well be 200. Lieutenant Campbell's gun, probably B gun, gets unlimbered. Crew brings it into action. Campbell takes the layer's seat. 1 round fired. Maybe, then a direct hit. German shell strikes the shield. Explosion tears through the crew. Campbell blown 6 yards from his seat. Killed instantly. Gun destroyed. Trails shattered. Shield ripped apart. Wheel smashed. Out of action before it can contribute. Gunner Perrett wounded. Bombardier killed. 2 other gunners dead. Gun crew wiped out in seconds. Brought into action by Gifford with Sergeant Phillips and Gunner Richardson. Other men join them. They fire. 8 rounds. Maybe 10. Estimates vary. Then a shell lands close, kills several crew members. Gifford and Phillips keep firing. Another round. This one blows off a wheel. Gun flips over. Falls on its side. Sergeant Phillips killed. Gifford hit. Shrapnel in his shoulder and leg. He's bleeding badly. Tries to keep going. Can't. Crawls toward the haystacks in the northwest corner of the field. Gets hit again on the way. Second wound. Collapses behind the hay. Other gunners drag him to cover. He survives, but he's done. Out of the fight. His gun destroyed. 2 guns down. Lieutenant Mundy and Corporal Payne bring it into action initially. Gunner Derbyshire joins them. He's been inspecting ammunition wagons when the shelling started. Runs to help, takes position as layer, but F-gun is at the end of the line. The other guns that are still firing are shooting over it. Every discharge concusses Derbyshire. The muzzle blast from nearby guns, the shock waves. His ears start bleeding, then his nose, blood running down his face. He can barely see, can't hear anything, just ringing. Forced to hand over the layer's seat. Switches to ammunition carrier instead. Running rounds from the wagon to the gun, 20 yards each trip, back and forth, shell fragments everywhere. So he becomes a gun layer, takes the seat, Sergeant Nelson beside him, setting ranges, loading, calling corrections, Lieutenant Mundy observing, spotting fall of shot, calling adjustments. Battery Sergeant Major Dorrell hasn't arrived yet. He's been at the watering point. Pond behind the sugar factory, taking the right half battery's horses to drink when the bombardment started. Half a mile away, he hears the shells, sees the smoke, abandons the horses, runs back, sprints through the chaos, reaches F-gun around 6:15, maybe 6:20. Timeline gets confused in the accounts, everything happening too fast to track precisely. Loads the round, Bradbury lays the gun, traverses left or right, elevates, calls ready, fires, recoil. Gun runs back on the trail, hydraulic buffer absorbs shock. Gun returns to battery, breech opens, empty case ejects, Nelson rams in next round, closes breech, Bradbury relays, fires again. Cycle takes maybe 4 seconds with a trained crew. They're trained. 15 years for Bradbury, 10 for Nelson. They know the drill, done it thousands of times, never under this kind of fire, never with this much at stake. But the drill is the drill. Muscle memory takes over. First round over the target, too much elevation. Drop to 500 yards, fire, still over. German batteries clearly visible now on the ridge. 12 guns in line, crews working them, smoke and flash. Continuous bombardment, drop range again, set fuse to shrapnel 0. Means the shell bursts on impact, maximum effect on gun crews, fire, round hits. But Nelson realizes the problem. Shrapnel 0 is dangerous to British cavalry and infantry deploying in front of the gun. Fragments travel forward, could hit friendly troops. Changes fuse setting to 1.5 seconds. Gives the shell time to travel past British positions before bursting. Less effective on the German guns, but safer for their own men. Fire. Now they're hitting consistently. German gun crews taking casualties. 1 gun definitely destroyed. Maybe 2. Hard to tell through the smoke and mist, but German rate of fire slackens. That's measurable, that's real. But the men are still there. They take cover, then start moving into position. Dismounted, rifles out. Lieutenant Lamb commands their machine gun section. He finds a concealed position. Good field of fire toward the German guns. Both Vickers guns. Opens fire. Accurate. Effective. German gunners have to take cover. Can't service their pieces as fast. Rate of fire drops further. Combined with F-gun shrapnel, this is having effect. Real effect. Germans aren't achieving fire superiority. They should be overwhelming the British position. 12 guns against 1. Machine guns. Rifles. Numbers. High ground. They should be winning. But 1 gun and 2 machine guns are making them pay for every round they fire. Add their fire to the bays. 5th Dragoon Guards. 2 squadrons moving north at 6 in the morning, trying to outflank the German position. Loop around to the east, get into their flank or rear. Cavalry doing what cavalry does. Maneuver. Find the weak point. Exploit it. But the Germans see them coming. Machine gun fire. Artillery. Lieutenant Colonel George Ansell, commanding 5th Dragoon Guards, is riding forward with his squadrons. Shell burst near him. Shrapnel hits him. Multiple wounds. Fatal. He's dying. His men carry him back. He's the senior regimental commander in the brigade. Dead or dying. 34 years old. Father of Mike Ansell, who will command 5th Dragoon Guards in World War II. But the maneuver works, even though Ansell falls. Germans have to shift guns to cover their flank. Can't concentrate all fire on the battery position. Pressure spreads, dilutes. Nelson loading. Mundy observing. Corporal Payne helping. Other gunners rotating in as casualties mount. Then Lieutenant Mundy takes a hit, shrapnel, stomach wound, intestines torn. Fatal injury, but slow. He's dying. Knows it, stays at his post, keeps observing, calling corrections. Blood soaking through his tunic. Corporal Payne hit. Shrapnel. Also fatal wound. 2 men down, Nelson wounded. Shrapnel fragments in his shoulder and arm. Bleeding. Refuses to leave the gun. Wraps the wounds. Keeps loading. Keeps setting ranges. Pain doesn't matter. The gun matters. Keeping it in action matters. He needs to bring up more rounds from the wagon, 20 yards away. He runs. Shells still falling. Machine gun fire stitching the ground. He reaches the wagon, starts loading rounds into his arms. Shell lands close, very close. Fragment hits him, takes his right leg off at the thigh. Femoral artery severed. He's bleeding out. Massive wound. Knows he's dead. Minutes maybe, but he doesn't fall. Doesn't quit. Drags himself back toward the gun. Other men try to help him. He waves them off. Get back to the gun. Keep firing. They prop him against the gun trail. He's sitting there. Leg gone. Blood everywhere. Still giving orders. Still directing the fire. Talking to Nelson and Doral. Keep it up. Keep firing. Don't stop. His voice getting weaker. Color draining from his face. Shock setting in. Still talking. Still commanding. Dies propped against the trail. Hand on the wheel. 33 years old. Married. Wife back in England. She doesn't know yet. Won't know for days. 6 machine guns. Dismounted cavalry with rifles. Small arms fire continuous. Shells falling steady. Shrapnel bursts overhead. High explosive impacts shaking the ground. The gun keeps firing. Dorrell works the breach. Nelson loads when he can. Other gunners still alive help when possible. Derbyshire's still running ammunition even though he's deaf from concussion. Osborne, the driver, still bringing rounds up. Other men whose names don't appear in the records. Killed before anyone wrote them down. Wounded before anyone noted their actions. Anonymous heroes, doing their jobs. Following orders, serving the gun. Fire them. Then nothing. No more rounds. The gun falls silent. F gun. Number 6, the Nery gun. Firing for 1 hour 50 minutes, 90 minutes to 2 hours depending on which account you read. German records say British artillery fire was very effective. British reports say approximately 150 rounds fired. Could be more, could be less. Nobody counted in the moment, too busy surviving. 3 German guns definitely knocked out, confirmed by prisoners. Multiple German crew casualties, gun teams killed, horses dead. Other guns damaged, but still firing. Rate of fire significantly reduced. British cavalry had time to deploy. That's the key, that's what mattered. Time. 90 minutes bought with blood and shells and 3 Victoria Crosses. It's the best way to support our work. Also, comment from which city you're hearing this from. This information comes from first-hand accounts. Lieutenant Jack Gifford, who survived, wrote a detailed letter. Sergeant Nelson wrote an account of the action after escaping from German captivity. Both documents held by Imperial War Museum. Lieutenant Colonel T. Pittman, who commanded 11th Hussars, wrote his article in Cavalry Journal using notes made shortly after the battle. German regimental histories from 4th Cavalry Division record their casualties and losses. These are men describing what they saw, what they did, what it cost. Now back to the information. Queen's Bay's along the village edge, 11th Hussars in firing positions, 5th Dragoon Guards maneuvering north, machine guns finding targets, small arms fire building. The Germans have superiority in numbers, superiority in artillery, superiority in position. But they're not achieving breakthrough. British cavalry holding. Barely, desperately, but holding. 800 men. They'd been at Saint-Ains, 8 miles south, moving south as part of the general retreat. At 6 in the morning, word reached them. 1st Cavalry Brigade under attack at Nery. Major Reynolds, commanding 1st Middlesex, acting commander. He doesn't wait for full battalion to assemble. Takes D Company, 1st unit ready, machine gun section. Moves immediately, double time, 8 miles in 2 hours. They arrive hot, exhausted, but ready. Join the line at the village's eastern edge. Open fire on German guns. First time, German gunners are taking rifle fire from infantry. Accurate, disciplined, British regular infantry, professionals. They make every round count. Better position. Fresh crews, fresh ammunition. They open fire, accurate fire, very accurate. German gun positions fully exposed now. Morning sun burning off the last mist. Clear targets. I battery hits them hard. German horses taking heavy casualties. Artillery teams need horses to move guns. Limbered guns weigh tons. 6 horse teams per gun. Lose the horses, you lose mobility. German horses dying fast. Machine gun fire from 1st Middlesex hitting them. Artillery from I battery hitting them. Small arms from the cavalry. Combined fire devastating. The Household Cavalry Regiment arrives with 4th Cavalry Brigade, Royal Horse Guards. Troop under Lieutenant Heath attacks dismounted German cavalry near the sugar factory. Heath killed in the action, but his men push the Germans back, clear the factory, secure the position. The Germans realize they're in trouble. Garnier gets reports. British reinforcements arriving, infantry, artillery, more cavalry. His division is strung out, attacked from multiple directions. 5th Dragoon Guards pressuring his right flank, 11th Hussars and 1st Middlesex attacking his center. 4th Cavalry Brigade hitting his left. His artillery is taking serious casualties, ammunition running low. Supply wagons supposed to deliver more, but they're delayed. Can't get forward through the British fire. German cavalry trying to advance on foot are pinned down, can't move. His machine gun company is engaged, but infantry machine guns are matching them. He's losing, knows it. Surrounded. Orders withdrawal. Immediate. Disengage and rally east of Nery. Pull back. His cavalry regiments begin retreating, mounted and dismounted. Moving east. Some going north into Compiègne Forest, trying to break contact. His artillery tries to limber up. Move the guns? But 8 guns can't move. No horses. Teams dead. Draft animals dead. Traces cut. Wheels damaged. Trails stuck. The guns are abandoned, left on the ridge. German gunners spike them, drive nails into touch holes, try to make them unusable. But there's only so much you can do in minutes while under fire. Shell shocked. Surrendering. First, Middlesex captures all 8 guns. Gunners finish disabling them. Knock off sights, break elevation gear, smash recoil systems. Make sure they can't be used even if Germans counterattack and retake the position. C Squadron. 11th Hussars mounts up. Pursues the retreating Germans. Cavalry doing what it does best. Exploitation. They ride hard. Catch scattered German units. Take 78 prisoners. All 6 regiments of 4th Cavalry Division represented. 2nd Cuirassiers, 9th Uhlans, 15th and 16th Hussars. 17th and 18th Dragoons, prisoners from all of them. Division shattered, scattered across miles of countryside. Food supplies abandoned. And they have to abandon 4 more guns. Their remaining artillery, no horses to pull them, no way to move them. Total German artillery lost 12 guns. Entire divisional artillery, 3 batteries, gone, captured or abandoned. The division doesn't return to combat for days, needs to regroup, re-equip, rebuild morale, integrate replacements. A cavalry division is supposed to be the mobile eyes of the army. Screen the flanks, probe for weakness, report enemy movements. 4th Cavalry Division can't do any of that. They're wrecked. Wounds were fatal, but took time. Lieutenant Campbell killed instantly. Captain Bradbury died on the field. Major Sclater Booth survived, unconscious for hours. Severe concussion, evacuated to hospital, eventually recovered but never returned to command. Lieutenant Gifford survived his wounds. Both of them. Shoulder and leg. Spent months in hospital. Awarded Legion of Honor by French government. Croix de Chevalier. 2 gunners received Médaille Militaire. Derbyshire and Osborne, the men who ran ammunition. Sergeant Nelson wounded, captured by Germans, taken to military hospital. Le Plessis-Châtelain, probably. When French forces reoccupied the area during German retreat, he escaped, walked back to British lines, days later, weak from wounds, half-starved, but alive, free. Worst single day for any British unit in proportion to total strength for the entire war. 33% of the battery's total war dead died at Nery. One morning, 150 horses killed, 170 by some accounts, nearly 2/3 of the battery's horses. 5 of 6 guns destroyed. Only F gun survived. Battle damaged, but intact. The 3 cavalry regiments, 81 casualties combined, much lighter. 2nd Dragoon Guards, 5th Dragoon Guards, 11th Hussars. Total casualties across all 3 regiments less than L Battery alone. Lieutenant Colonel Ansell of 5th Dragoon Guards, most senior. Brigade Major John Cawley killed. Staff officer, 1st Cavalry Brigade Headquarters, caught in the initial bombardment. 34 years old, son of Sir Frederick Cawley. His brothers Harold and Oswald also killed in the war. All 3 brothers, all dead, all buried. John at Nery, Harold at Gallipoli, Oswald reburied at Nery in 1918. Family paid a price. Other estimates higher, some say 200. Hard to verify. German records incomplete. Units scattered, roll calls disrupted, but minimum 162 confirmed. 8 guns captured intact, 4 abandoned later at Rosieres. 12 total. Complete loss of divisional artillery. Morale damage severe, tactical defeat, strategic defeat. A division routed by a brigade, 5,000 men beaten by 2,000, superior numbers, superior position, surprise achieved, and still they lost. For valor in the face of the enemy, instituted 1856, Crimean War, bronze cast from Russian cannons captured at Sevastopol, inscription for valor, awarded for extreme bravery, selfless action, usually posthumous because the circumstances that earn it usually kill you. Captain Edward Kinder Bradbury, Victoria Cross, posthumous, citation published London Gazette, November the 25th, 1914, issue number 28985, for gallantry and ability in organizing the defense of L Battery against heavy odds at Nery on 1st September. Short citation, doesn't capture what he did, kept a gun in action under impossible fire, commanded while bleeding to death, died at his post, 33 years old, buried Nery Communal Cemetery, grave in the vault on the west side, 3 officers buried there, Bradbury, Campbell, Mundy. plus Lieutenant Claude Champion de Crespigny, originally buried with them, later exhumed, reburied in family mausoleum. Citation reads, for continuing to serve a gun until all ammunition was expended after all officers were killed or wounded, in spite of concentrated fire from guns and machine guns at a range of 600 yards at Nery on 1st September. Commissioned in the field, 2nd Lieutenant, rare honor. Promoted from ranks during combat, returned to France as battery commander, a battery 119th Brigade Royal Field Artillery, 38th Welsh Division, left Army 1921, Lieutenant Colonel, 34 years service, served Home Guard World War II. Died January 7th, 1971. Stoke-Dabernon, Surrey, 90 years old, full military honors. King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery provided escort, gun carriage, trumpeters, last post, buried Leatherhead, survived by sister, son, 2 daughters, 8 grandchildren. Carried Nery with him every day for 57 years. Citation reads, helping to bring guns into action under heavy fire at Nery on 1st September, and while severely wounded, remaining with them until all ammunition was expended, although he had been ordered to retire to cover. The last part matters. He was ordered to leave, refused, stayed at the gun. Wounded, bleeding, stayed anyway. Commissioned 2nd Lieutenant after escaping from German hospital. Promoted captain, then major, served as instructor at School of Gunnery, Shoeburyness, where he trained before the war, taught young officers and NCOs, artillery tactics, gun drill, fire control. Returned to frontline March 1918. Given command of D Battery, 59th Brigade Royal Field Artillery. German Spring Offensive, March 21st, 1918. Massive assault. Breakthrough Allied lines. Open warfare returns briefly. Chaos. D Battery in the thick of it. April 8th, 1918. Fighting at Lillers, northern France. Major Nelson severely wounded. 3rd time wounded in the war. This time fatal. Died of wounds. 32 years old. Buried Lillers. Communal Cemetery Extension. Headstone reads, Major David Nelson, VC, the Victoria Cross noted. Always noted, 8 years from Nery to Lillers, 4 years of war, survived Nery, didn't survive Lillers. 5th Dragoon Guards applied for Nery as battle honor, rejected. 11th, Hussars applied, rejected. Only L Battery, only the gunners who stayed at their posts until the ammunition was gone. The battery was withdrawn to England after September 1st, reformed, re-equipped, new men, new horses. New guns, only a cadre of originals left. Returned to service April 1915. Sent to Gallipoli, 29th Division, the indomitable 29th, most attacked division in British Army. Took part in more assaults than any other formation. L Battery with them. Mediterranean Expeditionary Force, landing at V Beach, Cape Hells, Bombardier Derbyshire killed there. The gunner who bled from his ears at Nery. Survived that, killed at Gallipoli, buried there. Total battery war dead, 74 men, 23 killed September 1st. 31% killed one day, never another day like it.